Stop me if you've heard it before, the newest season of Survivor is gonna be one of the most amazing, game-changing, and fun seasons of all time.
Think of it kind of like the monster in a horror movie. It's hungry. Either you devour the monster, or the monster will devour you.
Moving into Survivor Season 45, we are now 5 full seasons into the new era of Survivor, and with that, I've kinda become an expert on what to expect going into these tribe breakdown videos. Blue, red, and yellow, we have 3 starting tribes going into Season 45, and although it has not yet been confirmed what the names of these starting tribes are gonna be, if I was a betting man, I would say they would all be based on Fijian birds, with the amount of birds we saw in the promo and the multiple birds found in the logo. Since our last video discussing Survivor 45, there's been so much more information dropped, including the tribe breakdown, and we need to talk about it. If you missed the last video, take a look at the amazing Survivor Season 45 logo. Survivor 44 may be behind us, but there is always more Survivor to look forward to, with Survivor 45 premiering on Wednesdays in September with game-changing 90-minute episodes.
Survivor is expanding to 90-minute episodes for season 45.
Pretty crazy. After that Survivor 45 promo was released, after the Survivor 44 finale, everyone began to speculate what the tribe breakdown for the season was gonna look like. Although the speculation was pretty close to the end result, I wanted to make sure the tribe breakdown was official before bringing you this video. Today we'll be diving deep into the specific tribe breakdown of Survivor 45, and I will also be ranking the tribes on how well I think they will perform going into the game. So make sure to stay watching until the very end of the video so you don't miss my rankings of the tribes. Possibly a hot take, and I actually said the same thing last season, but I'm getting burnt out with the constant 3-tribe format in Survivor. We will now be seeing the 3-tribe format 5 seasons in a row, and I'm really hoping we'll be going back to 2 tribes with Survivor 46.
2 tribes or 3 tribes?
If I had to choose, then 3 tribes. Because anytime you can, the more you can slice it and dice it and complicate it.
Let's start with the blue tribe of Survivor Season 45. This tribe will consist of Brando Meyer, Bruce Perrell, Jake O'Kane, Katura Tops, Kelly Nalabedin, and Kendra McQuarrie. Brandon Meyer is tied for being the youngest player on the season as a 22-year-old software developer from Seattle, Washington. On the other side of things, Bruce Perrell, who is the very first returning player in the new era of Survivor, is the oldest dude on the season, being 46 years old and an insurance agent from Warwick, Rhode Island. Kendra McQuarrie is a 30-year-old bartender from Salem, Massachusetts, highlighting the first of many connections on this tribe, as our next player is also from Massachusetts. Jake O'Kane is a law school grad from Hanson, Massachusetts. We actually have a little lawyer connection here, as this tribe has Katura Tops, a 34-year-old civil rights lawyer from New York, New York. And with the New York connection, we also have Kelly Nalabedin, who is a nurse and 29 years old from New York, New York.
You have been officially named and invited to have an open invitation to come back for a future season. Now, how does this, is this like Money in the Bank pass?
This blue tribe is truly the tribe filled with Survivor connections. I would go as far as to say this feels like possible pre-season alliances like we saw in Survivor Winners at War. Just take away the part of most of these are first-time players. The first couple of days on Survivor is all about forming connections based on anything you can find in common, meaning I think Kendra and Jake will form a bond from being from Massachusetts, Jake and Katura will form a bond being lawyers, and add Kelly into the mix for being from New York. We also know early on you can be in danger for being super old or super young, and with Brando being the youngest and Bruce being the oldest, I think these players could sadly be in trouble very early on in the game. I just hope Bruce isn't the first person voted out this season.
You are so positive, you are a leader, but you understand why we're doing this, right?
Next up, we'll be discussing the red tribe of Survivor 45. It's always a little strange to make early predictions just based on the little amount of info and pictures of people's faces. But if I were to guess, I think this will be the strongest tribe of Survivor Season 45. Take that with a grain of salt, as although they are really top heavy with strong competitors, I can also see some players holding them back. This tribe will consist of Austin LeCun, Daniela's D. Valadadres, Thomas, Drew Basil, Jay Maya, Julie Ali, and Nicholas Nico Alsop. Not to brag, but Austin LeCoon follows me on Instagram and is a 26-year-old business student from Chicago, Illinois. And representing the Illinois connection, we also have Nico Alsop, who is 30 years old from O'Fallon, Illinois, and is a martial arts instructor. Daniela Valadadres is 26 years old and is in sales development from Miami, Florida. This tribe is going to feel very young, as we have the youngest dude on the season with 22-year-old Drew Basil, who is a grad student from Birmingham, Michigan, and 23-year-old singer Jay Maya from the Bay Area, California. On the opposite side of things, the last member of this tribe, we have the oldest player on the season with 49-year-old Julie Ali, who's an associate attorney from Nashville, Tennessee.
I am starting over. I'm older than everyone else in my law school class, and this is my second chance.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I think this is going to be the most dominating tribe of Survivor 45 throughout the early portions of the game. With all things considered, this is a very young group of players, as if you exclude Julie, the average age is 25 years old. And when you add on to that, we have Austin and Nico, both from Illinois. With adding on D into the mix, these are probably the three strongest players on the entire season. Meaning, if I was to put money on who I think will be in danger at the start of the game, I would think Julie for being the oldest player on the season. Sure, you also have Drew, who is the youngest player at 22 years old, but with the young age of the group overall, I could easily see them sticking together and taking out Julie for sadly just being the oldest one out there. Finally, we'll be exposing the yellow tribe of Survivor Season 45. I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed this is the exact same starting tribe colors that we just saw with Survivor Season 43.
All right. Welcome to Survivor 43.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't get a good read on this tribe from my first impressions, as I could see them going either way, as with major flameouts and going home early, or being major characters throughout the entire season. I mean, you really just need to look at the Survivor 45 promo to see what kind of players we'll be seeing on this tribe.
So my grandfather, he went and robbed a bank. I'm a big fan of villains. I'm not a bully, but I'm opportunistic.
This tribe will consist of Brandon Dolan, Emily Flippin, Hannah Rose, Caleb Getterworld, Sabaya Broderick, and Sean Edwards. We have the only Canadian on the season with Caleb Getterworld from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, who is a 28 years old sales and marketing coach. Brandon Dolan, which I gotta flex again, this dude follows me on Instagram and is a 25-year-old content producer from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sean Edwards, who is a 34-year-old school principal from Provo, Utah. We also have the truck driving veteran Sabaya Broderick, who is 27 years old from Decatur, Georgia. Hannah Rose, who is a 32-year-old and a counselor from Baltimore, Maryland. And lastly, we have Emily Flippin, a 28-year-old financial analyst from Washington, D.C.
I'm an efficient person, which is really just a nice way of saying I'm neurotic. Let's go.
I wouldn't go as far as to say this group is as strong as what we just watched play out with Survivor 44 with the messy Tika tribe, but if there is any group of players on Survivor 45 that can rival the entertainment value that we just watched play out with the Tika 3, I think it would be this yellow tribe.
When Carson got to Caroline, she was like all over the place.
The question is how these tribes are gonna rank going into Survivor 45. After watching Survivor 44 and the domination of the Tika 3 Stooges alliance of Carolyn, Jam Jam, and Carson, I actually think it's in your best interest to be down in the numbers going into the merge, and that way if your tribe is able to stick together, you can fully control the game. As a little 5-second summary of each group, I'm hyped that we'll be seeing Bruce Peralt return from Survivor 44, but I'm low-key stressed for him being old and a very young group of players. I predict the red tribe will be the strongest tribe in the early portions of the game, especially if they vote the right people out if they ever go to tribal council, and I think the yellow tribe will give us the biggest characters of the season, meaning in terms of ranking how I think they'll perform in the early parts of the game. In last place, we have the blue tribe. In terms of physical strength, they are lacking, and I'm also worried about the overall chemistry in this group as well. In the number 2 spot, we have the yellow tribe. I'm not gonna lie, lie, I can see them performing fairly similar to the Blue Tribe, but they were given so much screen time during the Survivor 45 promo, and that's gonna boost them in the rankings. And in first place, and in my opinion, way above the other two tribes, we have the Red Tribe. It has not yet been confirmed if we'll be seeing any tribe swaps within Survivor 45, so if this group ends up staying together, I don't see any way they won't be dominating the early challenges within the season. Anyway, if you want to get caught up with Survivor 45, click right here for my Survivor Season 45 cast assessment.